Hey guys, Saber Sting here. So I've got a really interesting video that I'm going to be bringing you today. First of all, we're going to talk about the state of the game, any new features I think could potentially be updated, any new things which would be really help to improve the game. I'm going to be giving you 3 cards which I personally think need a buff in the game, and 3 cards that I also think need a nerf as well. So I think my opinions might annoy some people. Obviously I am a bit biased because I'm a Siege player, so any cards that are going to be good against Mortar and Expo I'm not going to be a fan of, but always feel free to have a discussion in the comments, always up for anyone's feedback, and then at the end of the video I'm going to round off with just a live war gameplay, me doing my war attack, which should be interesting for those that stick around for the end of the video. So let's get into it then. So talking about the state of the game, I think actually overall it's a pretty diverse meta at the moment. There are just a handful of problem cards which I'm coming up against all the time, pretty much every game, Hog being one of them. That's a bit of a spoiler to the nerfs that I want coming up, but overall it's a pretty diverse meta. I've been seeing a lot of weird decks which I haven't ever seen before, but I mean that's a good thing for the game because we don't want dead cards. I mean, there is a war rework coming up, and I think that's definitely needed because war's getting a bit stale, I think, for most people. But I'm not really going to talk too much about that because I don't have many ideas on how they're going to really improve it or work with it. But clearly they've got the Supercell team, they've got an idea of something coming forward, which we'll probably see in one of the big updates coming up. But one of the things I've always been an advocate for is a competitive 2v2 ladder. We need competitive 2v2, and I think this would work by, you would have about maybe like say five 2v2 like partnership slots, and you could choose a partner in your clan or on your friend list or whatever, and you'd like register a partnership with them, and then you would get a competitive ranking depending on how many matches you win or lose or whatever. So you could potentially have like 5 partnerships going on at the same time with different members of your clan, which would be really cool. And then I think that would be a really cool new element to the game to add competitive 2v2, because there's so many more plays which you can make, so many more combos. It's just, you don't need to say anything about it. It'd be really cool. So I hope they do introduce that in the future. Unfortunately, I don't think we're watching all the videos on YouTube and everything. I don't think we've heard much about it. But yeah, so coming on to my main idea, and this is what I've just thought of, which I think would be a pretty cool idea as a new feature. We need some kind of weekly clan challenge option, and I think this would be a really good idea to get more people involved, and really increase like the clan morale and that kind of thing. So my idea, hear me out, for a weekly clan challenge, so there's 50 tiers, 1 member can attack each tier. So you've got obviously 50 tiers, that's the amount of people you can have in your clan. You'll get rewards for attacking like tier 10, 20, 30, 40 and 50. You get a chest for completing each of those tiers. And in the tier, there will be like an enemy deck that you've got to come up against. It could be Hog Cycle, it could just be a completely random thrown together mashup of cards, and you're against like a computer, a CPU, king, and whatever. You're just against some kind of computer generated enemy, and you attack these tiers, and as they go up from 10 to 50, or 0 to 50, sorry, as they go up gradually, like as you progress, they get harder. So tier 50, for example, might be like a maxed out 2.6 Hog Cycle deck, which you've got to beat. So obviously in the higher tiers, you'll be saving your stronger clan members for those, but I think that could be a pretty good idea. And when you go on a tier, you could see the deck you're going to be coming up against, so you could prepare for it and strategize, and that also encourages people to level up a variety of cards as counters. Like there's plenty of other games on, well, mobile games especially, that have like kind of crypt function where you've got like these rows of enemies which you can all team up and kill, that kind of thing. And I think this would be really good, and you could maybe have like 5 attempts at attacking each day, or an energy refill every hour, some kind of thing like that, which I think would definitely improve the game, and it'd be really interesting. And like obviously I think it should be a weekly thing, because it wouldn't be good to get like daily legendary chests. That'd be pretty broken, wouldn't it? So I mean, maybe, but the weekly rewards, definitely, I don't see what harm it could do, and it definitely encouraged people using cards which they've never used before. So I mean, that's overall my take on the whole state of the game at the moment. I am enjoying it. There's just a couple of problem cards which we'll move on to now. So let's start with the nerfs then. Let's get the nerfs out of the way, and then we can move on to some of the positives. So the first card which I think should be nerfed is the lightning. And I may be on my own here, but I mean, I know there are a few members in my clan that agree. It's because I play Siege as well, that might be something to do with it, but the lightning definitely needs some kind of nerf. It's just the frustration of it being able to completely take out an Inferno Tower. There's no strategy involved. Like, if you put an Inferno Tower down, fair enough, it can be lightninged away. That's a given. But you can even place the Inferno Tower just far away from the Princess Tower, and it still gets lightning. Like, the radius is just a bit too much. I think just a range decrease to make it a bit more skill when you're placing your Inferno Tower, because I always think I've got it just out of range, and then it just gets lightninged away. So yeah, just a slight nerf on that one. I don't think anything else really is needed with that card, but it just annoys me so much when I just get lightninged all the time. So for my second card that I've chosen to nerf, it is the Hog. I've mentioned it earlier on in the video. Yeah, the Hog just annoys me all the time. It's the fact that he's become a kind of jack of all trades. You see him with Furnace, you see him with Balloons, you see him with P.E.K.K.A, Giant, literally any combo. Hog Mortar has been there, done the rounds. Hog Expo, not yet, but I mean, and Hog Graveyard, not so much, but literally every other card, you can just, there's a main win condition, you can combo it with Hog. Hog is the main win condition in like 2.6, really solid decks like that. It's a bit too just overbearing, and I think maybe if there were more cards that countered it, or I don't know, but it's just the card itself doesn't even seem too bad, but it's just the fact that it's so overbearing in the meta at the moment. Every other game is guaranteed Hog. I've been on like 6 game streaks where every deck I've faced contains Hog, and it's just boring. That's the thing. Like, some of it isn't actually annoying at the card, and then other parts are just it being just so boring coming up against the same decks all the time. So I mean, ideas for a nerf: hit speed decrease, probably, maybe even just first hit speed, and so it just stops getting that one hit off on the tower that it just always gets off. But yeah, I mean, health wise, obviously it's tanky, but that's how it's supposed to be. Speed wise, it's fine. I think maybe just a hit speed and that would do it for the Hog. There's many Hog users, and I know that loads of people watching this video will be using Hog, and I've got loads of people in my clan that prefer Hog as well, so I'm not gonna diss on it too much. But I mean, yeah, just a slight hit speed nerf there to stop it annoying me all the time. So the third and final nerf that I'm going to be suggesting to you guys today, and this is probably the one I'm most passionate about. I thought it would be the Hog. I thought the Hog would get me, but when I'm actually recording this video, no, this is the one, and it's the Furnace. The Furnace it definitely just needs reworking, needs nerfing, but I mean, a rework maybe is necessary. Like, it's again the same as the Hog. It's a jack of all trades, but the thing which is different about the Furnace, and just makes me a bit more annoyed at it, is the fact that Hog is actually supposed to be a win condition. It is a real main win condition card, if not sub win condition. But the Furnace is a building. It is not supposed to be a win condition, and I've faced decks which don't even have any win condition at all, and it's just Furnace, like defensive cards like Bowler, Ice Wizard, that kind of thing, and the Furnace has just done so much damage. It's just definitely way too overpowered. Goes amazingly with Graveyard, Royal Giant, that's where you see it with the most, but it's in any deck. Minor Furnace, just everything, and that's when it starts getting a bit ridiculous, is when it's in every single deck, and I think it definitely needs nerfing. It just annoys too many people, and I think the sign of when a card is unbalanced as well is when it's so bad at level 12, and yet all of a sudden you max the Furnace, the Fire Spirits reach the tower, and then it's just so overpowered. I think if a card is actually truly balanced, then it'll be fairly even when you're upgrading it. It becomes slightly better when you upgrade it, obviously, but it's fairly even. But whereas with the Furnace, the difference between a maxed one and a level 12 is so noticeable, especially when you're in War as well, which you'll see later on, I'll talk about in the War video. But God, that, yeah, really annoying. Some kind of suggestion for a rework. Maybe it could spawn even 3 Fire Spirits and just have a less longevity on the field, because the thing is, obviously, Fire Spirits as a card themselves aren't used a lot, and they're just like not overpowered in the slightest. They're underused, and there are a few videos going around which think that Fire Spirit should be up to 4 and then you can split lane them, and I'm a big fan of that idea. That would be really good, and I think especially if they did that, maybe 3 Fire Spirits coming out of the Furnace, and then it just like maybe lasts like a third off the longevity of it, because I mean, realistically, if you're putting down something to defend the Fire Spirits like archers or that kind of thing, they'd probably take care of the 3rd Fire Spirit easily enough anyway, so it wouldn't be that much of a buff in that case. But yeah, it definitely needs sorting out, and that's the last card that I'm going to be nerfing. But onto the buffs anyway. This is the more positive part. Onto the buffs. So looking for some positive reinforcement now. The first buff that I've chosen is the Zappies. The Zappies definitely need a buff. This is just, no one can argue that the Zappies need a buff. They're non-existent on ladder. I don't think I've ever come up against them on ladder. They're non-existent in any challenges, literally challenges like draft where you may have to be forced to pick some of the worst cards in the game, and Zappies are still non-existent. You'd rather have pretty much any other card at the moment other than Zappies, so they definitely need a buff. I wouldn't even be annoyed if they made it pretty, over-exaggerated with this card. They need to do something pretty big. Maybe even I'd suggest a health increase to make them unfireballable, a nice word, a bit unfireballable, because, at the moment, fireball, bam, easy counter, you can't split lane, so maybe a fourth Zappy, well, that's the obvious one, is a fourth Zappy to split lane it, but I think making them unfireballable would be a lot better to put behind a giant or build up a better push that way. I think that'd be pretty cool to see that, and that'd definitely increase their usage rate there. So for my second buff, it's actually quite an interesting one. I'm going to just touch upon buffing the bomber, and this was pretty requested by the other people in my clan, to be honest, and they made a good point in the fact that every other skeleton card with a bomb drops a bomb on death, and that's pretty much all that the bomber needs to be viable again in the decks like Golem decks and those beatdown decks. Bomber would be really good, be good on defense, get rid of a few pushes, maybe just have a death bomb that would just kill maybe even just goblins, not even that much. It'd be quite a low damage death bomb, but that's really it. That's the only change, and I think that's just a little push that Bomber needs to become really viable again. And then for my third buff, which is the one I'm a bit more experienced about, got a lot of experience with this card, the Royal Delivery. Even though it's the newest card to the game, I've been using this card loads. I've put it in my last video in my deck, which I've stubbed it in instead of arrows. Originally I tried subbing it in instead of the knight, but it didn't really have the same effect. But with this card, I think just a slight speed increase is needed. I think the time that it takes to be deployed, it's just a bit ridiculous. It's not even a skill thing in timing it. It's just way too long, and it's been used very rarely on ladder. I've barely seen it on ladder. Seen it a few times in tournaments, but nothing too major. And I think it's always hard with new cards when they get added into the game, because they tend to buff them too much and then nerf them to death. But I think just a slight speed increase when deploying the Royal Delivery would be really good, and it'd make the interaction with the Goblin Barrel especially a lot better, when it's pretty much impossible to Royal Delivery a Goblin Barrel unless you know a second before, which is impossible when you're going to know they're going to play a Goblin Barrel. So yeah, I think that'd be it, and that's pretty much it. So that's it for the buffs and the nerfs. If you disagree, then don't hate on me too much. I tried to pick a few cards that wouldn't really be the common ones, like Magic Archer is obviously a common one, and the ones that other bigger YouTubers have talked about. I'd rather talk about a few ones that wouldn't be covered as much. So on to the live war gameplay now then, so I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so we're actually going to be going live and doing my war game now. I don't know how this is going to be turning out really. It'd be embarrassing if I end up losing, but let's just go and see what the war deck is looking like. I picked today to show a war game just because I've got a crap deck, to be honest. Usually when I get my cards for war, if I see an Expo or a Mortar, that is definitely going in the deck, and I've got definitely a higher percentage of me winning the game. But this deck, I'm going to go for the Royal Giant. There's a couple of things that need upgrading, just a basic thrown together dreadful shocking war deck. And I'm just going to be doing a video, I think my next video, ideas of if you're a beginner at the game, what war deck you should be looking out for, how to construct a war deck, that kind of thing. If you just seem to be going into wars and just losing all the time because you've got a terrible pool of cards, or maybe I might make a next video to kind of help you about that. But this is the deck I've decided to go with. Royal Giant, got the spells in there, the arrows and the Barbarian Barrel, Ice Wizard, Dark Prince good as ever, but I'm not really got my high hopes for this, but the clan's counting on me. Let's do this. Oof, against Thigh Lacking. So because I'm playing a higher cost deck, it's not too high, it's average 3.8, 3.9, that kind of thing. I'm going to wait and see what he does. Makes his first move Furnace, of course he uses the Furnace. Always coming up against Furnace in war, and it is a pain in the arse to deal with. Level 12 Furnace, that's the thing about war. If you've got a level 12 Furnace, then you might as well throw it in, and you've got a great chance of winning the game, just because it forces so many cards for your opponent to play. But my Furnace is only level 11 at the moment. Need to work towards getting that leveled up. Got a Lumberjack as well. Hopefully he's not playing Royal Giant, but it looks like he might be. Okay. Just to see those Fire Spirits are going to do a number on my flying machine there. Not good. Basically takes it out. Jesus Christ. Isn't going very well at all for the minute, but we'll just keep going. I love having the flying machine in war decks. I like the flying machine as a card anyway. I think it's great, but definitely in war decks, just because it's so sneaky. It just manages to always get those hits off. He's put the giant down, so I think we're going to just stick an Inferno Tower in the back. Oh, Dark Prince luckily almost manages to take out that Night Witch there. I don't really want to be using my arrows at the moment in case he's got something else that needs arrowing. Okay, that was a pretty poor push by him. I don't know what ranking this guy is, what arena he's in. We'll check after the game, but I mean it's pretty casual so far, nothing to worry about. He's got the Hog and he's got the Giant, so I'm just going to save my Skeleton Army. If he's not got a small spell, then the Skeleton Army is going to be so key in this game. You just won't be able to defend against it, which is why if you're making a war deck, you need to always use whatever small spells you've got of it. There we go, good idea. That's me saving my arrows from before. I've not really got enough elixir to defend this Lumberjack, but it needs defending. So he's taken the lead a bit there. Can we avoid the Fire Spirits? Oh no, didn't avoid one of them. Oh, that Fireball's killing my Ice Wizard. It's real pain. Again with the Furnace reloading. Right, okay, so I kind of get what this guy's trying to do now. I can just kind of build up a bit of a push, get the Dark Prince to tank and get my Royal Giant behind. I need to save my arrows, about to go with that, but can't use them because he's got the Minion Horde. There we go. The Royal Giant at level 11, not really doing that much work, but I mean it's okay. It's better than nothing. Couldn't get rid of those Fire Spirits, and I guess we just reload again. I think we're just going to try and put constant pressure on him now. Maybe try and get a few scabby shots off with the Fly Machine. I've not got a big spell, so I can't take out that Furnace, but I'm thinking of using the arrows on it. No, we're looking pretty good. Oh, the Royal Giant gets a shot away. Yes, we've got this now. Bam. Screaming Hog emote, my favourite emote in the game. Oh yes, thank God I won that. That would have been really embarrassing if I didn't win that game. Just thought I'd play a live game for you guys. It's the first time I've done it, and then just see how it turns out. My next video I think I'll definitely be doing war tips, that kind of thing. We're due for a big rework on war anyway, so I mean it'd be good for to learn a few new tips and tricks about war, ready for the new update whenever that comes, probably in a month or two. But yeah, that's me out for the live game, and I'll just go to the outro now. So that's pretty much it for this video, guys. So thanks for bearing with me because it's been another long one, and let me know in the comments what you thought of the live gameplay, if you think I should do some more of that, and let me know your opinions on my buffs and nerfs. But I mean, other than that, thanks a lot. It's appreciated for you staying with me for this long, so leave a like and I'll see you next video.